Does the idea of going for your goals scare you like it does me? Does that whole idea of like, what's your goal? Does that question like bug you in a way because you just don't know it? Perhaps goals could be too big and we worry whether or not we can handle them. So that's what today's podcast is about, is just finding out ways that we can attain our goals without really sabotaging ourselves in the process. Coming up here on the Spencer Mark podcast. Thank you so much for being here and appreciating that new music I have set up inside there. I feel it's more apropos for the what we're going to be talking about here today. Goals. What's your goal? What is it that you're doing towards your goal? And I could tell you that I've run into this just so many times in my own life, and this self-perpetuating kind of sabotaging that happens when I want to be able to go for these things that I want and I think that I need in order to be happy and feel fulfilled. And then if I fall short, then I end up spinning kind of out of control. So I'm here today to kind of lay out 5 or 6 different methods that will help stop just like this probably unconscious sabotage that happens inside of our life. And I'm going to kind of highlight, kind of give you the high points and what the research has shown as far as these things that we do to sabotage ourselves, and then just kind of bottom line it and just help kind of guide you with some practical tools to help carry you through these kind of checkpoints in life to help you to really begin to get a taste for what you want. So let's just get right into it. Let's just stop waiting. So how to stop the sabotage and how to really make action happen is what the title of this is all about here. Number one thing that we need to do is these heavy expectations that we carry upon ourselves. It's like this all or nothing type approach. And in this world of social media and this natural comparing that happens, I know I feel this a lot here too. If I see other influencers out there, quote unquote, crushing it, and I can compare my life to theirs and I feel mine isn't up to snuff, then it helps me really feeling down about what it is that I'm doing. And that causes myself to freeze. Have you anyone out there? Can you relate to that? You have this idea, you're on fire about it, and then you see someone that's kind of doing something that you're doing, and you just don't feel up to snuff. It doesn't feel it's right, and then it just crashes. And I'd like to talk about this maladaptive perfectionism. This is what the peer-reviewed research says, is that this maladaptive perfectionism, which is like this kind of these irrational, just super high standards of being perfect, is something we carry in our mind. If we're looking at our everything in our life needing to be perfect, that really correlates hardcore with procrastination. So you want to get started on something, and maybe you want to do that weight loss goal, and you're doing good with your food and you're eating, then you break one time. You have a little extra of something. Maybe you have a cookie and it turns to like 2 cookies, and then you're like, F it, I'm going to go for the entire bowl of cookies. Right? So if I wasn't perfect, and everything goes out the window and I'll start the next day. What the research is showing here too is that when we're overly perfect, we have these high standards. And if those standards are not met, we can end up in a worse place than when we started. Okay. So in order to kind of break that and to break free of that procrastinating because you don't want to start because you don't feel like you have the perfect end to your beginning, some self-compassion can really break that shame. Giving yourself space, creativity is really good in this way of just free writing. And say you're creating some content, just free write. Don't, without the intention of even putting anything out there. Find ways to kind of bring some space into your life and promote some flow. Have some fun. Go out for a walk. Take some play. basically what that does is it really delays this loop of thinking you need to be perfect. You're procrastinating, you get down on yourself and end up hurting yourself in the process. So to kind of bottom line that means if you're demanding something perfect for yourself, you freeze up. But if you can have the space to allow this good enough, this is good enough to start, you can end up getting some movement. And that's what this whole thing is about, is that you get moving towards that goal. Okay. Just as long as it falls in line in your values, just promoting any kind of movement. So think about it in your life of how you started really micro, you started really small, and you were kind with yourself. Can imagine a parent or an older loved one or a mentor was just really kind with you and allowed you to just to kind of mess up and find your way. And that's what really you're offering yourself when you offer yourself compassion. So some ideas here. So if you end up having a miss on anything, and rather than beating yourself down here, you can start to name that by saying, this is normal. This is part of my learning process. And then within, I'd say about a minute or so, just take one tiny step. And for me, it's like creating this podcast. If it's not perfect, if not all the peer-reviewed sources are laid out, I can't really play out the end in my mind and I get stuck. So for me, a tiny step was to replay or to pick out new intro music for the podcast. That was one tiny step in one direction that I did within 60 seconds. It promoted a little bit of movement without any expectation of anything trying to be perfect. So when it comes to your physical health, maybe it's calling a trainer, filling your protein shaker, or laying your shoes out for your run the next morning or a walk. I spoke about this in the last episode here too, talking about this called the SPIRE. This is a wide-ranging spectrum to realize happiness in your life. This is where we look at the whole person well-being. So I want to tie this into your whole person well-being. And when SPIRE stands for spiritual well-being, you have physical well-being, intellectual well-being, your relations and that type of well-being, and then your emotional well-being. And where this really ties in is this really helps with your emotional regulation. So you're giving yourself compassion here and a bit of relaxation when you're doing something like this. And this really works also in your relational well-being when you do this, because you're really being kind to yourself first. It's so important to have a relationship with yourself first before you can begin to have a very healthy relationship with others too. So don't forget about you. Okay. Number 2. So having these micro goals is really important. Micro goals, they have to match your values, and not one of your favorite influencer. I like to think of myself more as a coach than any sort of influencer. So what we learn in acceptance and commitment therapy called ACT is that you really have 2 options from any sort of decision you make that moves you either towards the direction you want to go or away from the direction you want to go. And how you know you're moving towards that North Star or where you want to go is if it aligns with your values, things that you completely are on par with, something that speaks to your soul, whether that's compassion, whether that's loyalty to another, whatever that is, whatever that value is for you. If you are making decisions based on what it is that you value, not what another values, then you are moving towards that North Star. You have a deep, fulfilling sense of satisfaction no matter what. So when you're making value-based actions based on what it is that you care for, it will improve your well-being, and it improves your follow-through, seeing something out all the way to the end. You get a greater sense of completion and satisfaction there. This is what the research shows us. And then when you're able to get this tiny little bit of progress, this is going to fuel your motivation, and you're going to begin to understand that I can actually do things that I set out to do. I can finish and I can see things through. It's about getting these small, tiny wins. So when you hear the word goal, I don't want you to freeze and go, shit, goals, I don't know. What's a little micro goal that takes you a smidgen in that direction? Anything, right? So think about that as just very small wins. And I just want to remind you that this is what it's about. And then it's going to help with your feelings, and your feeling of getting stuff done is going to help fuel your can-do attitude. It's going to help your courage. It's going to help your satisfaction of self. So simply put, when a step that you take that fits what matters to you, it ends up sticking, and it becomes a habit when you do it over time, and you're being able to see that progress it encourages you to keep going, right? Think about any new habit that you started out in your life. I mean, something that you're proud about. It was that consistency. And when you're able to see that progress, that would probably felt pretty motivating. I'd be curious to know what that is. So, coaching speak here, just a few ideas. So, pick a 5-minute mood tied to a value. Okay. If you want to be a dad that's strong and that's kind, perhaps even like strong for your kids, maybe just some 5-minute kettlebell swings, perhaps like 10 to 15 push-ups. And you could track that for yourself. But a little idea here is allow your kids or those that you love to see you working out or doing something strong for yourself. Just think about how that's going to influence them, especially when it comes down to your kids. They're going to see how you're able to handle tough and difficult situations, and they're going to want to mimic that. Perhaps they'll get down on the floor and do some push-ups with you too. Show them that you're a strong dad, or show them that you're a dad that goes out and likes to bake bread, make some cookies with them or something. Whatever that value is for you, do an exercise and involve your family in that. Yeah. So where this fits into the spectrum Aspire, into your overall whole being, is this really helps with your intellectual clarity of values. What it is that you value, you got to be clear on those values, and that's going to really help your intellectual well-being. It's also going to help your spiritual well-being, because spiritually, you're really, what that's about is working towards your meaning and a greater purpose. Okay, so being a strong dad, again, alluding to that one too, if that is your purpose and that's what you want, if you did one little 5-minute move in becoming a stronger dad in front of that of others, that is going to fulfill your spiritual well-being. Okay, to where keep working towards those things, and you're going to find yourself just like knocking out these micro goals. So again, these micro goals is a way to stop sabotaging. So number 3 here. So taking action that leads towards that inner identity. Okay, so really imagining yourself from the end. This is what Neville Goddard talks about in his work. Brilliant, just a brilliant teacher back. I think he was in the 50s creating talks, helping people using their imagination for their greater good, seeing themselves from the end result, and really tapping into our creativity. So this motivation is really talking about being identity-based. Are you moving in the direction of that person that you want to become? So this study shows that people act when that behavior fits, the behavior that you want to adopt fits that identity of self. You see yourself as a strong, fit guy. The behavior you're doing is you're probably going to the gym and you're working out. You're probably out there taking walks, maybe going for runs or stretching, doing some yoga, perhaps some Tai Chi. You're using some physical form of exercise that fits a strong, healthy man, the strong, healthy dad, let's just say. That behavior fits who you are. So if you really see yourself in that identity, that is a strong and fit man, when you have your choice of having, let's say, a steak or a donut, you're probably going to opt for the steak because the protein's going to help keep muscle on your body, where the donut is not going to really help with that. So it's going to help you make decisions, make those decisions clearer for you and easier for you to make. So this helps really reduce those impulsive choices when they come up to you. Perhaps if a buddy comes up and say, "Hey, we're going to the bar to go drinking," if you didn't really have an identity, you probably would say, yeah, sounds good. I'll go hang out with them. I'm not saying that's bad or good, but if you had that identity as a man that goes out, and if a man that stays home, gets stuff that he needs to get done, into self-study, you might be hanging out at home doing stuff with your kids. You might be doing something for yourself. Perhaps you're making a podcast. Perhaps you're writing. Perhaps it is that you're reading. And then you can't really break those habits. I'm just saying it would help reduce impulsive choices, right? So it's important to be spontaneous and have fun. And I'm not saying not to hang out with your people, but it helps reduce those. It helps reduce or improve making better food decisions too. So you don't have to be so strict and stringent on yourself. These decisions happen naturally, which is nice because a lot of times we white knuckle stuff all the time and going, I can't eat anything but, got to get my macros in check. I can't eat anything else. That leads to orthorexia, which is you taking it a little bit overboard here too. When you're measuring every little micro measurement of your food, every little macro has to be perfect. You have to be able to let go sometime. There's a give and take and a flow to all of this. So just keep it with your identity. Overall, this is just saying that it's important to have maybe a little bit of a mantra, saying like, I'm the man who lifts and sleeps by 10. I'm the man who does push-ups every day to improve my heart health, whatever that is. I'm the man who hugs and loves on my kids. And then act like that person. Picture what that person does and looks like and says and acts. So write down a one-line rule. Just have like your journal handy. Have like your journal handy. This is where I always keep a journal here with me, and write just like a one-line line in your journal, or you can even put it on your lock screen on your phone. I'm the man who trains Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and walks after dinner. Whatever you want to be. And just read that, and begins to sink in your subconscious thoughts to where your conscious actions begin to just move into the direction of your choice. Where this ties in the spire, this helps with your identity and your meaning. So spiritually, this is good well-being for you. And then obviously, this helps your physical well-being with your own physical habits, depending on what your identity-led action is. Perhaps it's reading books that would help your intellectual well-being. But whatever it is that you want, just understand this is working towards your overall well-being in multiple areas. Number 4. So this is protecting the brain that protects you from that brain saying the do it now, do it now or else. So studies show, as you know, stress overall is detrimental if left chronically untreated. So stress is essentially just holding on to tension in your body. Stress rapidly impairs the prefrontal control. This is the wrinkly part of your brain, which is rational, comes up with ideas, and it's that creative part of your brain. So it impairs that. The stress impairs that to where we're more reactionary in a different part of our brain. So better sleep quality links to better self-control. So if you're getting better rest, you're going to make better control choices as far as your physical health, what it is that you're eating, even your reactions with your kids, with your loved ones, and the people in your circle too. So think about that. When we're cranky, we're reactionary, right? And we're typically cranky from not enough sleep a lot of times, or eating right before bed, right? So protect and guard that sleep like it's your paycheck, man. So working on better sleep means you're going to work on taking care of your stress and alleviating and relieving tension wherever you can, physically, mentally, emotionally. How do you like to release tension? Think about that. Leave it in the comments. And just know, very simply, a calm and rested brain makes better choices, better for you. Stay calm, stay relaxed, feel a flow for yourself. Stay rested and stay within yourself without any other expectations, and that you're going to make wiser choices for yourself. Okay. So something that you can do, working on daily stress down switches. You can do box breathing, which is the quick little example. You can imagine a box. You would say you would inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold it out for 4 seconds. That's so you're creating a box. And you can go 4, 7, 8, 4, whatever you want to do. But you can keep it simple, just 4, 4, 4, 4. Inhale 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold it out for 4. Just doing one of those brings you to the here and now and here in this moment and gets us out of our own thinking brain, number 1. So you're going to feel naturally calming down and relieving some stress. Going for a 10-minute walk. If it's time for bed, have an alarm letting you know, okay, it's time to get off the screens and start maybe reading a book, a page by page book, reading your Kindle, maybe, I don't know, whatever it is that you do to help prepare for a night of good sleep. Again, guard that sleep like it's your paycheck. Where this ties into your overall whole being, this is really taking care of your own physical health and your metabolic health. So your physical well-being, guarding your sleep, and then taking care of those stress responses. So this is good for your emotional well-being as well. Okay. So protect against this. Gotta hurry and do things and go for it and get it. That causes more stress. Just relax. Take it as it comes. Okay. Number 5, creating flow in your life by giving and unkinking the hose. I tend to think that if I'm not receiving, in the old days, I used to get more resentful that I'm not receiving enough. I'm not receiving my just due. But I find that I was hoarding. I wasn't really giving of myself. I wasn't giving anything, sort of my gifts. I'm not, whether or not giving the waiter a tip or not talking to people or even saying hello or even presenting a smile. But what studies have shown here too is that everyday creative acts boosts your positive mood in the future, like say the next day. It increases of flourishing, and that engaging in pro-social behaviors increases your feelings of happiness, and that staying mindful of what you can do to give helps support a flow state. And you think about the times you give, whether that's, giving extra money to a friend that might need something or even to a stranger. As simple as holding the door open for a couple coming in to grab a cup of coffee, what that feels like. And that's the big thing here too, is in feeling gratitude for yourself. Even if you're like this morning, I had a great talk with a good friend of mine here too. We reconnected, and it just felt so good for me to just be there with him and just listen to what it is that he's going through. And knowing I'm just giving my time and my attention to my brothers in need. And this is what this show is about here too. I want to give my experiences, and hopefully those are helpful for you. And I know by giving, I know I can then receive the things that I need, whether I don't know if it's financial, whether it's pro-social, emotional. But think about that. If you're feeling like you're not getting enough inside of your life, what is it that you can do in some small way to give? And that promotes a flow. You step off of the universal hose that feeds you from infinite supply when you're able to give of yourself, right? That's a natural law of reciprocation. So quite simply, make something really small. Give something small to start. And then that flow will begin to run in your life when you're engaged and when you're becoming more generous with your time, and that you have so many gifts, my man, to give. Tell your story, call an old friend, write a text message, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be like a large amount of money or anything to give. Create something. You create a moment for people. So an idea, create a 15-minute block, just like a make and give block. You write a note to your kid on a Post-it note, or to your wife. Just let her know that you love her. Just run into the next room and just give her a hug. It's let you know, hey, I love you. I care for you. Thank you. Sketch out what you want to do for your exercise tomorrow, or perhaps prep a meal for a friend. Just some ideas. What is it that you can do? What are the things that you like to do in order to kind of unkink the hose, so to speak? And where this ties into your well-being is obviously this is where helping your relations, right? This is helping yourself relationship by giving. This also helps your creative and your intellectual processes as well, thinking of things to do and to give. And then, of course, understanding this really helps with your purpose. So giving of gratitude really helps with your spiritual well-being. You're living out your purpose, right? I have 6 here. So we all like it when we start fresh, right? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to start losing weight starting on January 1, right? We've heard this before. I know I'm guilty of doing that myself. So it doesn't have to start at the beginning, January 1. We can take these smaller landmarks here too to start these streaks. Start on a Monday. Mondays are fantastic. You got a case of the Mondays? Just start on a Monday. So you can do the first of the month here too. Pick something that you want to start on. I just like the idea of a Monday. Go out and attack a Monday saying, okay, today, Monday, or I'm going to start eating cleaner. I'm going to start writing a gratitude letter to my teachers, in high school. I'm going to write a blog. I'm going to pick my intro music for my podcast, or I'm going to create a new playlist on my Spotify playlist that's going to help me motivate me on my walks. Find a podcast that is good for me, like this one, and whatever it is that you want to do. Set a fresh start day for you, and just know that a new page is equal to new energy. So to do. Circle the next landmark, book a specific micro goal for yourself, that thing that you want to do, and mark it on your calendar. Pick a time in that activity you're going to do. You can even text a friend even to join you, if it's a walk, if it's a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do. But start to plan, start to get your blueprint together of what you want to do, and then just accomplish it. But make them small enough to where you don't feel like you're really outstretching yourself. Start on Monday. What is today? Today is a Tuesday when I'm recording this. Start on Monday. All right. Where this ties in, this talks about, obviously, more from my examples here, this really ties in with your relational well-being and then your relationship with yourself too. Okay. So in conclusion, to wrap all of this up, I feel those were some 6 good methods here. It's important to just to let you know, quit white knuckling it. It's okay. Stop chasing the motivation to do it, and just create the conditions in your life. Set the table to invite the things you want into your life. So we work on the conditions to where what it is that we want shows up indirectly. So to do that, you ensure that every action you take really falls in line with your values. Okay, so fit those micro goals in with those values. Help ensure that it fits the identity that you set for yourself. Keeping a nice calm brain, breathing, staying creative, and being in a good pro-social flow. So those are all things that fit every spectrum of the spire: the spiritual well-being, your physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. And when you take care of that entire spectrum, you'll then begin to realize, hey, I'm happy. Things are good. I'm feeling some contentment. So to get some real rapid wins here, just pick one tiny move towards your values. What is it? One very small move. Okay. If you're wanting to get more protein in your life, maybe that's just having steak and eggs in the morning, or buying a new protein powder if you want to do that. One identity line. I'm the man who gets up and stretches first thing in the morning. I'm the man who gives gratitude to my wife and to my kids every day. Okay, whatever that is. Run one stress switch. What is it that you're going to do when you're feeling stressed, you're feeling tight, you're overthinking things, you're pissed? Perhaps it's just placing your hand on your heart and just breathing for a count of 10. A sleep alarm. Perhaps it's to alarm you, letting you know it's time to get to bed here soon. One creative or pro-social act: calling a friend, texting a buddy, let's get together for a coffee. And then maybe perhaps it's one fresh start date. And I know it's the 28th right now when I'm recording this, so perhaps it's on the 1st of November when you start. So those are ways to get some quick wins. And then journal what you're feeling. Leave it here in the comments, and let's just kind of root each other on as we move forward here too. But this is about building the conditions, the environment in your life that allow happiness to flow into your life. It's a weird study that shows that those who value happiness, that if they go directly at happiness, they're more likely to suffer isolation, likely to suffer depression, because they feel that it might fail to reach some very high standard. Okay, so if you think of something that we really hold important to us, that one thing, and if we feel that it fails, then we feel that we are a failure, and that's no. We want to try to avoid that. So we want to build conditions throughout the entirety of our life, working on whole being wellness, that really helps invite a feeling of happiness inside of our life. And just understand, this is the Parallax method that I use, to where we need to change the angle where we look at these things to help really realize the things that we want. And to remember, that is the parallax. That is changing your angle to change your life. And one way to really help you get clear on the identity that you want, and so you're moving in the direction of your goals, that covers everything spiritually, that covers everything physically, intellectually, relationally, even emotionally. I have a free blueprint for you that's going to get you set up with that, along with my 5-day challenge, to where I talk to you each and every day of that 5 days to help you fill this in and paste your blueprint in a very visible place, so you're reminded of why you are doing the things you're doing to realize the life you want from here in midlife, to live it out for the rest of your life. And I'm really excited about this. This really works. Knowing what you want, having that work directly in front of you. All you have to do is here, click the QR code here too, or scan that. Get to spencermark.co/image blueprint. Get your free blueprint and the guidance to get it set up. Let me know how this landed for you. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much for being here. And just remember that you are special, you are valued, you're loved, and you're cared for. So go out there and make your mark in the world.